I am looking at a 1964 Porsche 356, and this is a Monterey-bound car. It's heading to the auctions during the week of the Pebble Beach Concourse, and standing in front of that car is
Jake O'Gorman with RM Sotheby's, car specialist.
So tell us a little bit about this Porsche 356. It's a beautiful green to start, and it's a 1964?
Yes it is. This particular 1964 356C coupe is restored in its factory correct and original colors of Irish green over fawn leatherette interior.
Now, what makes this car have a value that it does? Because I think you're saying it's got a value of six figures.
Yeah, so our estimate on this particular model is 90 to 120,000 US dollars at auction. It is being offered without reserve, so there's no minimum on it. This particular model, that value, that auction estimate, it's based off of condition of the car, what similar models have sold for, recently, and also the history, the provenance. We know that this car, according to its factory build documents, it has its original engine and transmission, and it's finished in original colors. So those sort of four factors really make this a desirable example for this year.
What is the condition of the engine and those different things?
So this particular car was restored in the early 2000s by an outfit out of Maine, and they gave it a full restoration of body, interior, engine, everything. The
Would you call
car.
it frame up?
Yeah, like sort of. Well, on a Porsche, it'd be like wheels off.
Wheels
right?
off.
Because it's a unibody, so wheels off restoration.
Yeah.
So it's taken apart, fully restored, beautifully done. This particular car joined the collection in 2012. It was actually purchased at one of our auctions in St. John's, Michigan, Plymouth, Michigan.
Sure.
At Concourse of America at St. John's.
Absolutely.
So since then, it's had seldom use, just mainly been on display in Mr. Adderley's collection, and it's ready for its new caretaker.
Okay, let's look at the car in profile here. It's got the classic steel wheels, the classic Porsche 356 shape. Is there any other particular details that stand out about this car?
Yeah, so at this era, this would have been the 356C sort of model designation. So right near the end of the run. A year after this, I believe in May of 1965 is when they actually delivered and the last of the 356 models and transitioned.
Making way for the 911.
Right.
Yeah.
Fully into 911s then. This particular one, it's got some nice details on it, like body color painted bumpers, with chrome overriders, the dual grille on the back of the car, along with that gold Porsche C script on the back.
Now, of course, this is a air-cooled flat engine here. Can you tell us a little bit more detail about the engine?
Yeah, so this is a 1600 cc engine in this trim and in this year that it was producing about 74 horsepower.
Small numbers by today's standards.
By today's standards,
but
yes.
This is a very lightweight car.
Yeah, lightweight. It's air cooled, has twin carburation on it. This was sort of the later evolution of this particular pushrod 4-cylinder 1600cc engine.
Yeah.
This particular engine would have been carried over into some of the later 912s and that.
Sure.
In a similar setup.
And I love seeing this dual exhaust setup right here. That's just a really nice touch.
Yeah, it's
and
nice
this is fascinating that there's a light way down here as well.
Yeah. So that's actually your reverse light. Reverse light is down here, and then your tail light, your license plate lamps are on these sides.
Fascinating. Is it worth taking a look on the inside for a minute?
Yeah, of course.
Wow. I mean, just what a big, beautiful steering wheel we've got here. And this is a real nice leather on these seats as well.
Now, they did a very high quality job when they restored this car.
Now, how many airbags are in a 356? I don't remember.
It's, well, that's why you have this nice leather wrap steering wheel,
Yeah. and beautiful gauges. And you know, one thing that does hold true consistently is you have a nice big tachometer right in the center there. That's been a Porsche tradition for a very long time. So I guess this was a car that kind of helped create that tradition.
And it even has a few small luxuries. Actually, it's equipped with a clock and a radio.
Oh, wow. That's a special.
Yeah.
So there's the radio down in there and the clock just above it. And then is that a 4-speed manual transmission we're looking at?
It is. Yep.
Wow. And it looks like, you know, this detail here, even in the floor mats, this real nice kind of like stitch work here. It's a really nicely done car.
They did a wonderful job and you know, did a proper job restoring this car.
Anything else that stands out in this car that we should look at?
For this year of car, this era of 356, there's lots of maybe red ones you can find or black ones or that sort of thing. But this particular one, just being the Irish green over the fawn, it's just a really desirable color combination.
Yeah, and
it looks really good.
It does. It absolutely does. And yet, there's two Porsches here, and the other one is even more desirable. Let's take a look. Okay, as I said before, there was another car to look at, and that is this 1956 Porsche Speedster right here. And Jake, here we are. I mean, this thing really is special. Tell me a bit about it.
Yeah, so behind me, the 56 356A 1600 Super Speedster. This particular car has been in Mr. Adley's collection for almost a decade as well. It's special because the engine is in the super trim level, or super model, which is the highest output for a pushrod engine in this year that they offered. So it delivers a whopping 75 horsepower, and it's good to bring this little speedster up to 100 miles an hour.
Now, 75 horsepower, obviously that's not a lot. I think modern vacuum cleaners make that these days, but in the day, that was a pretty impressive number, and this car must weigh well under 2,000 pounds.
It's very lightweight. It's the idea for the Porsche Speedster is low cut windshield, no side windows, a very rudimentary top, just to keep the most of the rain out. It's a true sports car. So powerful little engine out back, lightweight body. It's a recipe for great fun.
Well, and it was kind of a less is more kind of idea for Porsche, and as a result, it ended up not only being lightweight and racy, but also very beautiful. I mean,
Correct.
Looking at, just as you said, we have this low-cut windshield right here, and just minimalist lines. It just kind of accentuates the lines you do have, and really just makes everything stand out a little bit more.
Oh, 100%. And this particular car, it was originally delivered in aquamarine blue, which would, very rare color on this particular model. When it was refinished in the early 2000s, they opted to change it to black over a dark red interior, which I think looks very nice on this body. And other sort of special things on it, because it's a super 1600, a super speedster, it has the different hubcaps on it, which are correct for that super designation. It also has scripting on the back denoting a 1600 super engine back here in gold, and again outfitted with dual carburation.
Yeah, right there, hanging out on either end. Is this a 1600cc engine?
It is.
It's just amazing how tight and compact these engines really look and truly are. I mean, no computer electronics, no intercoolers and subsystems. I mean, gosh, no radiators of any kind, right? It's just beautiful to see the simplicity and the purity of all this right here. And I do love these kind of like close to each other dual exhaust tips right here, and this kind of subtle chrome work in back as well. It's minimalist, but everything you see is beautiful. So let's look at the car in profile. It's almost got like a boat tail look to it almost.
Yeah, so you know, this was the era of the bathtub Porsche, you know, and you can see why they would call it that. You know, the very sloping lines to the front and the back.
Anything else about this particular Speedster that stands out for you?
Yeah, so it's, you know, numbers matching its original engine, which is, again, in the, well, collector code community, that is a big thing. And in the Porsche world, that's a big thing. It also comes with its side curtains and I think a few other pieces here, but I want to show you this, the tops, it's kind of fun. The very rudimentary emergency top. So
oh, wow.
Forward.
Wow.
Yep.
Very cool. Yeah, I mean, you can tell it's very rudimentary, very lightweight, that top.
So just enough to keep some of the rain off of you.
And the sticking with the Essentials themes continues with the interior.
Yeah.
I love just these like thick bolsters in the seats, and there's just very little to them, but you can tell they're also very supportive at the same time. And then we've got this big steering wheel, but yet it's also just very like purposeful and, you know, gives you like a sense of sport right away, I think.
3 gauge faces. You have 4 gauges all together between your oil, your fuel, your tachometer in the middle, as you know, Porsche standard.
Exactly.
And speedometer with odometer and trip meter. And notice too that this window is taken out here, you know, in the steering wheel, so you can view all your gauges while you're driving.
Yeah.
And notice there's no radio, there's no clock, there's nothing, you know, there's obviously no windows.
Yeah, there's barely a rear view mirror. I mean, it's really kind of amazing. And it's a 4-speed manual transmission again, yeah?
Yep.
And yeah, so very lightweight. I mean, I feel it seems like a luxury to have pockets in the doors right here. And even the floor material, you know, we just have this like real simple rubber floor material.
Yep.
Very rudimentary, very lightweight, and just sticking with purpose.
Yep.
We've come a long way when we talk about Speedsters. You know, the 2019 Speedster was a $300,000 911 based car with a lot of amenities and, you know, basically a GT3 engine. But this is such a great reminder of where the idea of the Speedster started. So how much does R and Sotheby's think that this Porsche is worth?
So this particular Super Speedster, we have an auction estimate of $375,000 to $450,000.
Yeah, well, it's a beautiful car and it is inherently rare. And Jake, I really appreciate you taking the time to show me around.
You're very welcome.